Hello, I'm Abby. I'm going to show you how to gather the front of your smock and add it to the bib of our dress. First you need to just choose which side you want for the outer. We recommend this one, but you can choose either. This is the piece to which you'll be attaching it, and this is the piece that will need to be attached. You can see that it's cut away from the armhole, and you need to fit this to this. In order to make your gathers, you need to adjust your machine settings to produce a very loose, large stitch. So the knob up here will be a tension, and you move it down from 4-5, which would be normal, down to 2-3. Your stitch length, which will be at 2-3 for normal sewing, needs to go up to 4-5. Then you need to position your piece exactly at the seam allowance of 1.5 centimeters. It's very important to keep this part straight because you're going to sew on top of the line 3 times. So use the dial on the base of your machine to make the setting exactly 1.5 centimeters. Tension properly, you keep the threads loose down the back, and this time you don't backstitch to finish off. You need to be able to pull the threads later, so you just start. You'll be going a bit faster with the big stitches, so you have to really hold on tight. Keep it as straight as you can. And at the end, unlike other parts of sewing, you lift, release, but you don't go backwards. The scissors, this time you need some spare thread. And what you do is you knot one side. It doesn't have to go tight up, but you're tying the back and the front together. Now you need to take the other side, and you have to be very gentle, because if you break the threads, you have to start all over again. But basically you've got a top and a bottom, and you're going to use the pulling action to gather in the fabric. So here, as I said, very important, go gently, smooth them along with your fingers. Don't yank, this is pure cotton thread you're sewing with, and it won't take any yanking. It starts getting creative as you pull the gathers along. You can find out also how you'd like to space them. Our first prototypes had all the gathers at the front, which looks good on a young person, but with more bust you might need to spread them out more evenly, like the one on the model. Now, you're only going in to match the width of this piece, so you can check as you pull that you haven't gone too far. You see, I'm only 3 or 4 centimeters off the destination. I would pull them in, smoothing partly as you go, but then now concentrate on getting it the right size. Now it's in too tight, you see. The right size edge to edge. Then you tie it round, keeping your position. Tie it as close as you can into a nice knot. Again, I would tidy it up by getting rid of all the strings and things. And now you've got a neat row of gathers which you need to space as you wish to have them. Gathers is very important, but I can also prepare for the next stage, which is going to be that you're going to put right sides together and sew the gathers to the bodice. You'll put the gathers on the top, you'll put the bodice on the bottom, and here I might say is a call for a pin or two. Don't use many, but it's worth pinning. I use right angles to the edge, because that way you can never break your needle when you sew over them, and they don't pucker the fabric. So right angles to the edge at one end. Don't have too many gathers right at the edge, because you're going to be binding that later, so you don't want the gathers squashed up against the edge. Pin at the other side for guidance, and then now you need to spend a bit of time evening out your gathers. They're going to be fitting across there, and it really matters that they're as small and neat as possible. Otherwise, when you sew, you might pucker them round and it won't hang neatly across the bust. Okay, I'm getting them evenly spaced there, and once they're evenly spaced, I'm going to stitch. I'm not going to put any more pins because I like to adjust with my fingers as I go. If you feel you want to have more pins, then you can try. I will just leave my pin there as I set up. Again, it's on the 1.5 spacing, and I've just remembered the all important thing: you need to reset your machine back to its standard stitch. back to standard stitch and back to finishing and starting properly. I do take any pins out really before going onto the machine. So forward and back at the edge without any gathers. Then a little check of the gathers here. And if you're happy with the spacing, you can go. They will move as you stitch, so your fingers need to be on their full guard all the way across. Take it slowly, and what's important is that you sew exactly on the line you've stitched before. Otherwise it'll show when you turn it round. So it was important that you did it straight. It's not a long distance, it's not hugely difficult, but it is fiddly and you need to work with your fabric and your fingers. Some people can take an extra step and fix the gathers before they attach them. In this case I'm doing it straight.
Just finish it fast. Well, you've got 40 seconds.
Yeah,
And then stop it.
And we'll leave a flat piece at the end. Bring to the edge, back stitch to finish. Lift the needle, put it off, keep it down the back, and then you need to hold it up and check your gathers. Now you've made your front.